I work as an IT consultant, and here in Ireland, Dublin to be precise. And I work in a very closed environment. It all started with one or two contacts with my colleagues at work, and I think that was how I was infected with this COVID-19 virus.
How serious was it for you, when it all started? What were the symptoms you noticed, and how scary was it?
Well, I first noticed it started with a dry cough, and I wasn't suspicious at first. But after the dry cough, I noticed that my temperature spiked. We have a thermometer at home, so we measure constantly. And it constantly stayed high, 38.7 thereabout, most of the time. That closely, after a few days, I began to notice aches and pain and tiredness. So I called off work, and I told them that I think I might be infected, but I need to test myself. So I called the health center here, we call it GP, General Practitioner here in Ireland, and he booked me for a COVID-19 test. After few days, I began to notice that I started vomiting and I had diarrhea. At this point, I couldn't stand by myself, and breathing was extremely difficult for me.
I'm trying to understand a couple of things. Now, these symptoms that you experienced while you had your case, had you experienced these symptoms before now, to the extent that you would have thought maybe you're kind of used to these kind of symptoms? Any such thing?
No. It started with a dry cough. And, when we experience dry cough here around, here in Ireland, around this time, we assume that it's normally you're having flu. So I quickly began to exercise and practice the normal procedure to cure myself of flu. But it degenerated very quickly to fever. I was having a very, very, very strong fever. And the aches and pains were very, very painful.
Just wondering, so when the symptoms seem to start getting worse, you talked about vomiting, pains and all that. At what point did you get medical care? Because I understand that the policies may be different over there, but what's the policy like? At what point did you have to go to the hospital, get treated, and what kind of treatment maybe did you get?
Okay, so the policy here in Ireland is that if you get difficulty, or if you get into difficulty, if you find it difficult to breathe, or your respiratory system is affected, you need to call the hospital straight away. However, in my own case, I started vomiting blood, and immediately I vomited blood on very early on Saturday morning, around 4 a.m. in the morning. My wife called the ambulance system here, and they came, we talked through, they assessed me, and they gave me the choice of whether if I should go in for treatment or not. I was very lucky that I opted to go in for treatment, because it could have degenerated into affecting my lungs and maybe causing pneumonia and other severe sicknesses. Plus the fact that I'm very lucky that I did not have any underlying health issues as well.
I'm trying to understand the timeline too. I mean, what you're telling us is quite compelling, trying to imagine what you went through. But what was the timeline? Do you remember when this started, when it deteriorated, when you got care, up till the point we're at now?
I noticed the cough started around March 26, 2020. And the 7th, which was Friday, I called
Okay, yeah, you can see just coming in and out, but we'll sort that out. and get back to him. But some of the things, you know, that quickly jumps out at you listening to him is that different people tend to exhibit different symptoms.
Yeah.
Because for him, in his own case, it was vomiting. We don't get to hear several people talk about them getting to that stage where they get to vomit. So who knows? Of course, some have mild symptoms.
Yeah.
Others have severe symptoms almost immediately. So it all depends on the number of things. But you can see he's young, healthy, then giving us his case. But let's get back to him now. Could you go ahead and continue your line of explanation, please?
Yes. So it all started around March 25th, 26th, when it started with dry cough. And by the weekend of 27, 28, I had to call off work. I told them at work that I can't come in anymore. I'd started having severe tiredness and general weakness of the body. By the Wednesday of the following week, of that same week, I'd started vomiting and I had diarrhea. So you're looking at within 7 to 8 days, it was full blown in my system. And on Saturday morning, very early Saturday morning, around 5 a.m., I called the ambulance because I vomited blood. And, you know, when I got to the hospital, the second vomit I had was ground coffee color. The doctors told me that's extremely dangerous for the system. So at the hospital, they did very well. They put me on IV straight away. I was given antibiotics. And I remembered them giving me an IV paracetamol. At that point, I switched off and I came to later on in the day.
How did you handle, you know, family? Because I understand you have a family, and, you know, during that period, you probably had to stay away and just to protect them. So how was it handling family, ensuring that, you know, you stay away from them, everybody is, you know, is well protected and all that? How was that experience for you?
It was very difficult because my wife had to make sure that I was all right, and at the same time make sure that she is not infected. So she uses mask while she cares for me, you know, because when I start vomiting, I needed someone to at least hold me. I had no energy to stand up, so I normally kneel down at the sink to vomit. And, you know, she helps with, you know, putting water in my face and etc. But my wife was very strong. She helped me through this whole issue. And also I had strong faith in God. In most cases, I always tell myself that, look, there is light at the end of the tunnel. I'll go through this.
One other thing, and this is still about family. I believe, or I understand that you have a family member that was also affected. Was the experience of that family member different from yours? You know, was there anything worthy of note for that family member?
Yes, for the family member that was infected, they didn't notice anything. I mean, it was only the cough that, you know, they noticed, and that was all. Every other issue, there was some stomach cramps or cramping as well that was noticed. But, you know, they didn't experience vomiting. There was no diarrhea. You know, the severe aches and pains that I went through, they didn't experience that, which was very strange for me. But I mean, this is it.
You know, I'll just like to explore further. I can understand how probably difficult, you know, going through this experience again is for you. But just a little bit further, for that other family member, we understand that he probably got to the extreme. And we hear that over there's some times that medical practitioners have to maybe choose between an older person and a younger person. How did that play out for that family member?
Well, with regards to this family member, this other family member you're talking about experienced COVID. It was infected. I went to the hospital for treatment, was treated for 3 days, and was discharged. But after being discharged, we noticed that instead of the sicknesses, experiences abating, it was deteriorating. So we called the ambulance again when we noticed that things were not all right. It was very serious because it affected, as I was informed, his breathing and so many other issues as well. Well, you know, we were very lucky. They got the vein at the hospital. He went through the respiratory system, and, you know, he was revived after 5 days at the hospital.
You can tell us, I mean, what kind of medication, what drugs did you take?
Well, I was on paracetamol every 4 hours when it started. I was also on lemon. In fact, I take pictures of my lemon cup once in a while and share it with my colleagues. So I was on lemon. I take ginger. And if once in a while, when I can brave it, I eat just one small clove of, just a small bit of garlic. Extremely painful, but I think it was a bit helpful. However, a medical treatment is required when things got really bad.
So I know that, I mean, there's always a narrative, there's always that punchline, something, you know, those who have experienced it as yourself always have to tell people. What would you want to tell Nigerians who are listening to you now, who may have a doubt or two about whether or not this can happen to them, or if they are ready, if they think they are ready for this? What would you say to them?
Well, I mean, the first thing I told my wife is that I don't believe this could happen to me. So please, first and foremost, practice the social distancing, because one staff insisted on coming into my department to reach out and pick up a laptop. This is why I'm where I am today. So please practice the safe distancing. Use the mask, at least to protect yourself. Make sure you wash your hands regularly for 20 seconds when you wash the hands, and make it regularly. Use the hand gel if you are not in a kitchen environment or in a fire or inflammatory environment. Other helpful information, I believe, has already been circulated, but these are the very pertinent ones that I would like to pass to people, especially for me, for example. I always tell people, stay at home. Stay at home. If you can afford to work from home, stay at home. Be safe.
Thank you very much indeed, John Opabola, and we wish you, your family, and everyone around you well. Thank you for talking to us today.
Thank you very much. It's nice having you.